Certainly. Let's take Afghanistan as an example to delve deeper into why it is often considered one of the most dangerous countries for women. 1. Gender-based violence. Afghanistan has extremely high rates of gender-based violence, which includes domestic violence, sexual violence, forced marriage, and honor killings. Women in Afghanistan face threats both within their homes and in public spaces. Example: according to a report by the United Nations, nearly 87% of Afghan women experience at least one form of physical, sexual, or psychological violence in their lifetime. A common issue is forced marriage, often too much older men, and in many cases, girls are married off as young as 12 or 13 years old. These marriages often result in lifelong abuse. 2. Limited access to education. Women and girls in Afghanistan have limited access to education. This is due to cultural norms, insecurity, and targeted violence against girls' schools. The Taliban, which has regained significant influence in Afghanistan, has imposed strict restrictions on girls' education. Example: since the Taliban's resurgence, many girls' schools have been closed, particularly beyond primary education. In some areas, girls are forbidden from attending school altogether after the age of 10. This denial of education further entrenches gender inequality, limiting women's opportunities for economic independence and personal freedom. 3. Health and maternal mortality. Afghanistan has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. Women's access to healthcare is severely limited, particularly in rural areas where healthcare facilities are sparse and security issues prevent women from traveling to seek medical help. Example: according to the World Health Organization (WHO), Afghanistan has around 396 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Factors contributing to this include a lack of female healthcare professionals, cultural barriers preventing women from seeking care, and the overall poor state of healthcare infrastructure. For instance, many women give birth at home without the presence of a skilled birth attendant, increasing the risk of complications.
4. Legal and social barriers. The legal system in Afghanistan often fails to protect women. Although the Elimination of Violence Against Women (EVAW) law was introduced in 2009, it is not widely enforced. Women seeking justice face significant barriers, including corruption, a lack of female police officers, and social stigmatization. Example: in cases of rape, victims often face more scrutiny than the perpetrators. There have been instances where women who report rape are accused of zina adultery and imprisoned for having sexual relations outside of marriage, even though they were victims of sexual violence. This legal environment deters many women from coming forward to report crimes against them. 5. Cultural and social norms. Cultural norms in Afghanistan are heavily patriarchal, with strict gender roles enforced by society. Women are expected to be subservient to men, and any deviation from this norm can result in violence or ostracization. The practice of purdah seclusion of women is prevalent, restricting women's mobility and autonomy. Example: women in many parts of Afghanistan are required to wear a full-body burqa and are not allowed to leave their homes without a male guardian. These restrictions severely limit women's ability to participate in public life, including working, socializing, or even seeking medical help without a male relative. 6. Human trafficking and exploitation. Afghanistan is also a source and destination for human trafficking, including forced labor and sexual exploitation. Women and girls are particularly vulnerable, often trafficked within the country and to neighboring regions. Example: many young girls are sold into marriage or trafficked for sexual exploitation, sometimes under the guise of marriage arrangements. Trafficked women often find themselves in situations where they are abused, denied basic rights, and unable to escape due to a lack of resources or support systems. 7. Impact of conflict. Decades-long conflict in Afghanistan has disproportionately affected women. The ongoing violence, displacement, and economic instability have made it even more challenging for women to access their rights and live safely. Example: during periods of intense conflict, such as the Taliban's rise to power, women were banned from working, attending school, or even leaving their homes without a male relative. Although some of these restrictions were lifted after 2001, the return of the Taliban has reintroduced many of these oppressive measures, making daily life extremely dangerous for women.